You're listening to the Career Plus Life Catch-Up, episode number 68. Welcome to the Career Plus Life Catch-Up, a show anchored in reality to help you create a balanced life where you enjoy both your work and your life, because you don't have to choose. I am your host, Cecile Ferry, a corporate executive turned coach and working mom. This is your place for insights, advice, and tools to optimize your career direction, balance, and confidence. I'm so glad you're here. Let's get into it. Hello, beautiful people. It's very nice to be back here with you. Thank you for tuning into the podcast this week, where we are going to talk about career. I love to mix it up a little bit. Last time we talked about being the best working parent that you can be, and I love having those kind of balanced conversations. And today we're going to be back into the career space, but I have a special twist for you. So I have already spoken broadly about career path in episode number 5. If you have joined more recently the podcast, you may want to go and listen to that one. It was definitely one of the most popular since I've launched the podcast, and I'll link it in the show note. And there I talk about mainly your career path not being the one and not being linear as most people think it is. So the background for today is I'm sitting here. I have been a career coach now for 5.5 years, and I have coached now hundreds of people, and I keep meeting new people and coaching more people every week, and I'm fascinated by the different backgrounds and stories and situations, whether they're men, women, they're all coming from so many different industries, cultural backgrounds as well, ages. So I'm looking at all this kind of tapestry of clients and all the insights and the learnings and all the kind of data that I have on their career path. And I am really seeing, as if you know me, it's one of my favorite things to do, is to really draw conclusions. It's to connect the dots. It's to spot some threads amongst people, amongst things happening and amongst data like that. So that's the background to today, because I want to bring you back here on reflections on career journeys and redirections based on everything that I have seen today and that I continue to see. So who will this help? If you're wondering if you should listen further, really anyone, because whether you are happy where you are, or you are only half happy maybe, or all the way down to unhappy, you are on a journey. And you will recognize where you are on it and what may have happened to you in the past, what may be happening to you in the future. So it's definitely a conversation for everyone. So my take today on career will be, I was trying to qualify it. I think I will use the word spiritual, or have a very conscious approach to looking at how our careers pan out. Because I really like to see our careers like integral pieces of the puzzle of our life, and not what some people might see as maybe quite plain, or lacking substance, being quite this dry thing that we do just to earn money on the side. I know you know that if you're here, but I want to take it to even the next level, because I see some kind of dynamic, or some kind of, even I will use the word magic, to how our careers are evolving and how they're unfolding. Because they mirror us as people. And where I'm actually going with that is that our careers are a tool to make us grow and to make us evolve as individuals. We can say careers are part of our soul plan. They're part of our life purpose, the reason why we're here. And so it's natural that we're going to experience particularly interesting journeys and some redirections. So it's not about, starting something and then stacking up job A, B, C, D, all the way up. There is so much more to it. So I can't wait to get into it with you. Are you ready? Okay, so my first point is that your career journey is made up of ebbs and flows that mirror your human experience, your human journey. So I want to knock back this fallacy up front that so many people unfortunately still preach and live by. but the fallacy that our careers are to be stable, that our careers are to be growing, they have to be steady, that there's, that sense of always advancing and building further, to always go ahead and get better and better and earn more and more money and have more responsibilities and so on. Like this idea that it's something that you build, that you stack up, that follows a logical order, that has no gaps, that needs to be consistent. So there is that model out there in our society and in a lot of belief. That's what a career is like. And to be honest, it doesn't serve a lot of us because we put ourselves under so much pressure to follow that kind of curve uphill, and we feel less than if our journey doesn't take that model. So that's also why maybe after today you will feel some relief and you'll realize that nothing's gone wrong at all in your career and you're just doing it perfectly right. So that's that fallacy. There's that fallacy that your career should only be that big bell curve all the way up, and then what happens? We just get stagnant and then we retire and it all goes downhill? Not in my book. And to be honest, there's a bit of the same fallacy about life, right? When we think we get taught from a young age, we need to build a foundation, then we need to grow and we need to get certain things. We need to get a house, we need to get married, we need to have a job, we get all those things. And then when we're there, then we think we are set, right? But obviously, have you noticed how that this is really untrue? I'm sure you've noticed how we fall down at times and we have to pick ourselves up, or we have events that stop us in our tracks. So that's what happens in our life, and our careers exactly mirror that. So the sooner that you can see this and accept this and kind of go through your career with that lens, the better you will flow with it and you will move through those ebbs and flows with ease, with understanding, and with speed as well. So as human beings, we are meant to evolve, to grow, and to move on. Whether we like it or not, we're put on this earth and we kind of push constantly to evolve and to grow. So we're there to learn new things at each stage of our lives. And I'm sure you've noticed it. You feel like we're going to catch a break, we're going to stay here for a while. And guess what? You have new desires, you have new goals, things happen in your life. There's just that constant push. Life is very forward. Same with our careers. So I want you to see your career as this flow, like this river that goes up and down, taking detours, sometimes around certain valleys, crossing different landscapes, peaking at times, and at others really going down, but always moving. So that's the first point I wanted to get across. Like, forget those must do. Forget all the career advice that tells you, be careful, you cannot go backwards and you cannot make this mistake and you need to go to the next step. Look at it more like a flow. That's what's the natural design of our life. And if you look at it that way and you flow with it, you won't get stuck. So my second point is that because we don't really know this truly flowy nature of our careers, what happens is we get stuck, and we get stuck longer than we should. We hang on too long in some career places, or we hang on to a job like it's our core identity when we are meant to flow onto the next one. And society does a very good job here of attaching our worthiness to our job title and our salary. It's completely erroneous. Our worthiness, for starters, is innate from birth, and it cannot grow. It cannot expand. It cannot grow any further. It just is there. And it's certainly not conditional to any kind of job or situation. So we don't need to prove ourselves through a job or through a level of salary. That's another fallacy. But that fallacy keeps us stuck in a place that may not be ours or may no longer be ours. And the thing is, when we get stuck somewhere, we get rust. We don't grow. And we accumulate that sort of grease that then translates into low confidence to move ahead, a lack of motivation, a certain lack of inspiration. And eventually this can flow down to performance. So a lot of us get stuck. Like if you're thinking, that's me, don't feel bad. The vast majority of us will get stuck because we get pressure the wrong way to move in a certain direction that may not be right for us. And then we get paralyzed when we're in that place and we get stuck. So if you haven't moved, if you haven't flown for a while, chances are that maybe you've been resisting that flow. Maybe there were cues coming to you, but maybe you didn't see them. Or maybe you saw them, but you were too afraid to follow through with it because of the potential risk that you see to your situation. So you probably just press the brake pedal so that it would just go away, and you find good reasons to stay where you are. Or maybe you're aware that you're stuck. And often clients come to me at that point in their journey. And it sucks and it's really hard. And you actually don't know how to get out of it because the thinking that got you stuck cannot be the thinking that gets you out. And that's when having an external perspective, having a coach is priceless because it gets you unstuck really quickly. And I know something about that because I was myself stuck for a long time in a corporate job in the past. So I can't spend a whole episode telling you how to get unstuck, but that's a good idea for a future one. But what I can say is being stuck is not the normal design of it. So if you've been stuck for a while, you need to do something about it. And if you feel like you're coming to a place where you could be stuck, now is the time to start preparing for the next thing. And for everyone, I just want to say, applying this principle of the career flowing through ebbs and flow, look at your own career and draw the flow of it over the years. Look at the places that you've been. Look at the ups and the downs, the places maybe you got stuck in for too long. Maybe look also at all the places where you flew from one place to the other and what happened there. Look where there was ease, and sometimes how some opportunities maybe came up when you were not expecting them, or you maybe were not even ready for them. But if you took them, look how you went and flew with it. This is a really good exercise to do because it will help you make peace with a lot of the ebbs and flows of the past, and it will also make you feel way more comfortable looking ahead for your career, knowing that things unfold a certain way and things kind of work out as they should. So this leads me to my third point. Redirections are always happening when and where needed. So this is something that I now believe so strongly in that for me it has become a fact. I have seen this with so many different people that I know this to be absolutely true. So when we talk about redirections, I see two types. Type A, it's those that we seek and instigate ourselves, and type B are all the others. And you guessed it, all the others is about at least 80% of the time. So very rarely do we actually seek them and instigate them ourselves. But let me talk about this first. So when we have redirections that we are planning for and that we're putting in place in our own careers, this is actually when we are honoring that flow that I've just described in our career. And we recognize when we're ready for the next step, the next evolution, and we don't get stuck that way. We hear the calling, we look within, sometimes we have the right people as well to put us on the track, and we piece together the answer. And we do it, and we up level. It's no small feat. I know I'm saying it like a couple of words and off we go. And it's not an easy process, and it can take some time. But it's completely doable for anyone, including you. And it gets easier and easier as you spot those things in your life in the moment where you get to if you like, the next chapter, when you're ready and you can start seeing that you're ready for something else. So it gets easier each time as you've already been through a couple of evolutions, a couple of up-levelings, and also you have more and more courage to do so each time. You know why? Because it works, because you see it working every time. And that's a big truth I've also found, is we are so afraid that it won't work. And this is normal that we think that, because our primitive brains are saying, do not change. Change equals danger, equals unsafe, equals we're going to die. So we are so afraid, and that's normal to be afraid. But therefore we stop ourselves and we don't do it. But the reality is, for those that actually act in spite of that fear, of the change, of the unknown, of the uncertainty, of the potential danger, those that do it evolve fine, because it is their life path, it is their career path. So in truth, no, we don't need to be afraid. We just evolve, we just become the next thing, we become something else. And we have a different experience and we learn more. Whether we are successful or not depends. And in my experience, most times we are. And usually we are successful when we are acting from our intuition, from our wisdom, from listening to ourselves. Usually that equals success every single time. But the problem is that we want assurance of success before we take any step to move on. And that doesn't work that way. The flow of life doesn't work that way, if you've noticed it. All those great things have come to you when you didn't expect them. And at times we get stuck because we're waiting for proof that we should be moving ahead. And the whole point today is, as in life, in career, you should not wait for the proof. You should flow first. And that worry about the success, that is not the point, my friends, because the point is to flow, to learn and to grow. And you know what? In all my experience, I really believe we will all be looked after in terms of salary and money. If not in the short term, then soon after. I am yet to see one instance, after all my years as a career coach, to see an instance where someone has lost a lot of money, has completely dropped their standard of living to a place that is significantly different from where they were. People pretty much maintain it, and most of them increase it and improve it. Plus, they're doing what's right for them. They're more engaged, they're more aligned with what they're doing. So that fear of money and success is actually a fake fear that doesn't have to be there. Trust me again on this, I have so much data. It looks like you could totally lose, but the reality is chances that you will be very low, because we know our worth, and therefore we can find adequate compensation for that at whatever stage that we're at, whatever the direction. The point isn't the money. The point is, where are we going and what are we achieving, and is that making us feel fulfilled? The money always follows. The point is really the experience that we're having in life, the purpose that we are trying to follow and to express. It's about the value that we're delivering, the difference that we make, the impact that we're having, and what we are getting from it. So I'm taking that little detour to kind of advocate for those changes in life in spite of the fear, because I know it's not natural, and most of us will have those redirections happen to us because it's too daunting to act on them ourselves. So if you have done it yourself, good on you. And I'm sure you have experienced those fruits that I've just described besides the financial gains. And if you are yourself listening and you are seeing that you should be moving in the next direction and you're paralyzed by fear, this is your call, my friend, to get some help so you move forward and you don't let those fears stop you, because otherwise there will be a further redirection for you guaranteed later on. Whilst now you can do it in your own time. You can plan it. You can choose the timing of it. So you can sort of flow with it as opposed to have the flow coming and knocking you over. Which leads me now to that other scenario when the redirection is not coming from us, it is not led by us, it is happening to us. And I see that so much. And maybe you've experienced one or several of those redirections too. And therefore you would know, yes, when this happens, it brings a lot of negative emotions. There is frustration, there is anger, there is upset, disappointment, grief. Like, it's really hard. And when it happens, you need time to get back on your feet and to process what happened first. And typically, I'm talking about redundancies. I've done a separate episode on that, number 8. It can be redundancies, it can be projects not working out, it could be a change in your circumstances that then impact your job, right? There's all sorts of stories, and I hear a lot of them, but the outcome is always the same. You have to get another job, you have to move in a different direction. The thing here is that what happens in your external world is actually planned, is actually happening because it is designed to happen for your life path. But because you don't know that you're supposed to flow with it, you don't know that careers are made of a flow, you're not even conscious that you're being redirected. I see this time and time again. You know, it feels like a shock to the system, and then we have all those negative emotions, and we're trying to react, and we're trying to bounce back, and we sometimes freaking out, right? And then we can be worried about finances and money and the likes. Yes. So when we are in that kind of fear mode, that panic mode, of that anger mode, we're not receptive to the message. We are not seeing the bigger picture. We are not thinking this is the flow of life. We are like, this absolutely sucks, and why did it happen to me? And that's where I just come to you here with so much compassion and love, because I am on the coaching side and I see it happening to people. And after we unpack it, I see this time and time again. We unpack, usually in our first session, what happened. I ask them about their story, how the redundancy happened, and then we dig how happy were they in the position, like what happened prior, and things just start being pieced together. And then to me, it's super clear. It is a redirection, and I'm yet to see a redundancy that is not a redirection. So example, when I am in coaching with people, they realize several things. Either that they were not really happy where they were, whether they were conscious or not. And maybe looking back, they're like, no, actually, they didn't quite align with what I wanted to do. Or the role didn't align with their values or with their lifestyle. Or the culture of the place maybe didn't align with their personality and was having an effect on that. Or maybe they had taken the job for a specific reason that was no longer valid. It makes all sense when you hear those things, but we don't think of them in the moment when the redirection happens. And maybe you can think back now to whenever you had a redirection, what was truly going on underneath the surface that could really explain what happened. In other words, the redirection is simply the perfect correction. It is the perfect realignment for something that wasn't flowing anymore. If you can grasp that, your life is going to expand. This is life changing things because there was a compromise somewhere at some point. Maybe at the beginning, there was alignment, and then something moved or several things moved. Maybe you've evolved, you've changed, your life changed. Maybe you became a mother. That's what happened to me. You changed countries, like things that were working before became a compromise. Things didn't quite gel anymore. And it can't last that way in life. Never. And the problem is that us human beings, we put up with compromise. We put up with misalignment for quite some time, and we resist there because even if there is compromise, it is safer and it feels more comfortable because it's a compromise we know. It's familiar. It's familiar. It's not happy, I see so many clients coming in, they know they're not happy, but they are set a certain way that works because that's what we seek as human beings. So it's safer and more comfortable than going after something better and higher and more fulfilling, which we might get on a conscious level. Yet, what will drive us is to stay where we are. And also, we perceive the difficulty of changing to be very high. So we stay stuck, and then one day something happens, sometimes completely out of the blue, and it was the redirection that we were ready for at the time and that maybe we resisted. I've always seen life kind of just coming one day. We get some opportunities, we get some cues, and then if we don't take them and we stay where we are, we're going to feel more and more pain there. And sometimes it's the pain that drives us to come out. But it would be so much easier if it was the desire for expansion, if it was the desire for fulfillment that drove us. But then if we stay, life has a way, and I say this in different episodes on different forums. I keep saying this again and again. You will be redirected. And we are all redirected because we are human beings and we stay stuck because we're afraid. That's just how we're designed. If we didn't have that brain, we would be probably in danger. So it's a good thing that we have our brains, but therefore they give us all sorts of warnings about perceived dangers. So we don't move in different directions and we get redirected ourselves. Isn't it cool in a way, if you can look at life that way, that there is this very natural mechanism that just ultimately brings you back on track? I know on the spot it doesn't feel like that. It feels so icky and unfair and painful, right? But then when you flow with it, because you have to when you've been redirected, you can't go backwards to what it was. So you're forced to flow with it and you go back on your feet somehow and you've moved to the next thing. Then you realize that you're okay and you can look back like we're doing that now and realize that actually this was okay. But sometimes you can start that even earlier as you're going through it by seeing that maybe it's meant to happen. So if you are in the middle of a redirection or know someone who is, or if it has happened to you in the past and is still sting, I'm hoping that this explanation can help you make peace with it and find some comfort that it was meant to happen and what came out of it. Look at where you are now versus how you felt then. So that's why I know that redirections are meant to happen, including mine. And to be honest, I'm sitting here looking forward to the next one and I'm trying to act on it myself. That's always the best. Noticing the sign, following that, acting in spite of the fear. And you will see, you will get helped along the way. There will be the right people that will come. You will hear people that have already done it. You know, you hear several messages that mean the same thing. That's a nice confirmation you should be going that way. In other words, I do not believe that those things that happen are just bad luck or unfortunate events that happen to us to test us or to hit us in the face, or they're just part of the, unfortunate, sad bag of life. I don't think so. I'm not saying that it's all rosy and that you should be happy when they happen to you. Hell no. I know how hard they feel. But that's what I'm saying. You need to sit with that and experience that and then look at the bigger picture and think about the flow and ask yourself, well, if this is meant to happen, where am I flowing to? What is the lesson for me? So I'm now summarizing the takeaway from today's episode. Our career journeys are a flow that goes around, goes up and down, is not linear, and is not defined by success and money. And because it's a flow, we can get tangled up, we can get stuck in places, and we don't want to be stuck for too long. Because if we do, life will redirect us anyway. Redirections are normal, part of life, and meant to happen. So I hope after hearing this, you can all relax in your careers. Maybe you're thinking, oh, I'm happy here, I'm set. And you're like, oh, Cecilia, you're telling me there's more coming and I'm going to be redirected. Yes, you will. When? I have no idea. When you're ready for your next stage. Some people, it happens faster than others, and some might take 10 years before you're ready for the next up leveling. But I want you to really take that in, that there is that flow, there is a sense to what is happening, how you feel in your job, the events that are happening to you. There is that serendipity in your career, of course. There's a positive career force that carries you through to the next level. I know that for me, it's easy to trust that because I've been sharing the career journeys of so many people. So I've seen it happening for them, and that's why I wanted to share it today. But I get that for your own journey, you're on your own. You don't have hundreds of other journeys to compare with. I know that it might feel hard to sense and to believe what I'm saying. So I'm here to help you and to shoulder you as you face potentially an evolution or a redirection. I can help you feel like it's going to be okay, because it will be. So if you're sitting there, either you're stuck or you've been redirected and it's hard, reach out for a one-on-one conversation with me. You can register on my website. I'll put the detail in the show note. It's at careercatchup.com/registration. Let's have a chat. Even just that chat alone will help you understand and crystallize where you are in that flow and what you need to do next to see clearly. So my final word is trust the flow in your life and in your career. And know that it's okay to not always have amazing success and money. As long as you are true to your desires and you are growing, you are learning along the way. That is what you're meant to be doing. You have no idea what your career ahead looks like, and neither do I. But if you trust that there is a path, there is a flow you'll be guided on. If you trust your intuition, which is your compass there, you will navigate the future really well. It is still full of discoveries for you. So bring on your growth mindset here and stay open to the ebbs and the flows. Notice how you feel and what grabs you. Be flexible, be open, and enjoy the ride. Have a beautiful week, everyone. I'll speak to you soon. Bye. Thank you for listening. If you enjoyed this episode and would like to find out more information, you can visit my website at careercatchup.com. There you will find blog articles, free resources, a self-study course for your career direction, and ways to work with me. It's at careercatchup.com. I hope to continue to connect with you and support you. Talk to you soon.